He's going to talk about 7 reasons black women stay broke. Let's hear what he's got to say, and I'll chime in as time goes on.
What's up, fam? There is a wealth gap in this country that has nothing to do with how hard black women work. It has everything to do with where their money goes after it arrives. My name is Rick. I spent years watching black women around me earn decent incomes and have nothing to show for it at the end of the month. Not because they were sorry workers or uneducated, because they were spending on things that felt good in the moment and cost them everything in the long run. Today, I am counting down the 7 lifestyle spending traps that are keeping black women from building their bag. These are not small habits. These are patterns that, compounded over years and decades, represent the difference between financial freedom and staying broke. Let's count them down. Number 7. High-end cosmetics and beauty products. Taking care of your appearance is not the problem. The problem is spending at a premium level on makeup when you haven't even started investing money. The beauty industry is a multi-hundred-billion-dollar global machine, specifically engineered to sucker you into buying the most expensive option. A black woman spending $300 a month on high-end cosmetics, skincare lines, and other beauty products is spending $3,600 a year on items that expire, stop trending, and don't matter to their man.
The crazy thing about what he's saying so far is I can already hear the angry black women in the comment section already upset about, oh my goodness, he's telling me I can't spend money on X, Y, Z. And the crazy thing about this is multiple things he said which are interesting. Number one, he said he's not saying that women shouldn't take care of themselves or use cosmetics or anything along those lines. The important thing he said, which is vital when it applies to women and men, and whenever we do a segment of men messing up and wasting their money, it's going to be the same thing. You have to be able to spend within your means. If you're going to be spending $300, it's not about spending $300 or $500 or $1,000 a month on cosmetics or whatever you may desire to. It's about the fact that you don't have that money to spend. That's a major difference. I always say I don't count people's money, right? Because at the end of the day, if you've got the money, do you. And I'm not talking about paying for something on credit, right? That's not what I'm talking about. If you've got the money, then of course you can do whatever you want to do. But I already can see that this first one, and the other thing you said, which was so fascinating to me, was the whole fact about the beauty industry is multi-billions. And I always think to myself, well, when an industry is so big, isn't it a surprise? Is it a surprise that there's so much stuff out there marketing wise as to, look, use this particular product, use that product. There's a reason, guys. You know when the Bible talks about the love of money is the root of all evil? That is supposed to prepare you and show you that people are going to be doing stuff out there, crazy stuff out there, because they love money. And some of the stuff they're going to do is indoctrinate, program you to think, you know what, you should go and get this thing which you can't afford because it's going to make you feel a certain way, which is crazy. Let's keep going.
Over 10 years, that is $36,000. Invested at a 10% annual return, that same $36,000 becomes over $60,000 that you could have stacked for your financial freedom. The fix is not eliminating the beauty budget. The fix is being honest about whether the premium version of everything is actually producing a meaningfully better result than a more modest alternative.
Some of us want a premium lifestyle, but we're not at the point yet where we can enjoy the things of a premium lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with desiring premium or something great, but if that's not in your wheelhouse right now, you have to be disciplined enough to say, okay, not now. Hopefully by God's grace sometime in the future, but for right now, no way, Jose.
Number 6, designer clothing and status fashion. Clothing has always carried social meaning in the black community. But there is a specific and financially devastating pattern that emerges when status dressing becomes a priority over financial building. A black woman who regularly purchases designer items like luxury handbags, Italian print shirts, pants and jackets, heels with a red bottom, is not just buying clothing. That sister is trying to buy social signaling. And social signaling is one of the most expensive purchases a black woman can make because the audience she is trying to perform for never stops requiring an updated performance.
And what he's saying here is gold because it's the truth. The fact of the matter is, if you are spending money on clothing that you do not have, you're in trouble. You're going to wind up in, if you're not there already, what I call financial hell. And the crazy thing about this is, when he was talking, the thing I was thinking over and over again is, I was thinking about the fact that women spend so much money, like he said, on designer clothes. And at the end of the month, the reason why it's so detrimental is because, and so destructive, is because most of the women that spend this sort of money just frivolously, they're not accounting at the end of the month. They're not looking at their financial spreadsheet. They're not looking at their expenses, how much went out last month, how much they made last month. They're not thinking about all that stuff. A lot of the time, what they're doing in those situations is, I need to get this new thing because it's going to make me feel a certain way. And there's only so many times the clothes are going to make you feel a certain way, and then it's going to wear off before you have to wake up and realize it's just an illusion. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep living this sort of lifestyle if you think you're going to be successful at some point in the future. Because you're not going to be successful by yourself doing this. And it's a major red flag to a lot of men who are going to look at this and be like, well, this woman's got a spending problem. And if this woman's got a spending problem, she can't be disciplined. That man's going to be thinking, well, when we get together, she's going to be trying to do the same thing. And he's going to be like, no, we need to be disciplined. Let's keep going.
The outfit that signals status today requires an upgrade next season to maintain the same signal.
If you can't maintain a lifestyle, if you can't, people like to pretend they want to be a character. And the problem with that is you can't be that person 24/7. So there's no point in pretending to be someone you're not.
The fashion industry profits from the cycle, and the black...
Let's go back and let's hear that again, right? Because this is linking now to the point I made earlier on about the billion-dollar industry.
The outfit that signals status today requires an upgrade next season to maintain the same signal. The fashion industry profits from the cycle.
The fashion industry profits from the cycle. The fashion industry, guys. If you're not into like modeling, if you're not somehow making money, if this is not some sort of business for you, you are not profiting from this situation. I'll put it like this. You are not getting the better half of the straw in this particular scenario. The fashion industry is.
And the black woman trapped inside, it pays for the cycle out of their future. A $2,000 designer outfit charged on a credit card over 12 months is not a purchase. It is a wealth transfer from your future self to a luxury brand that doesn't care about you or your community.
And I was going to say it's more like a prison, but because at the end of the day, $2,000 on a credit card over 12 months. That's if you're going to pay this off in 12 months. You're already accruing crazy interest on it. And every month after that 12 months you don't pay, there's even more interest to pay.
Black women, build your investment account bag first. Then buy the designer bags, heels, and clothes with leftover budgeted bread. Number 5. Premium wigs and sew-and weave spending. Hair care and styling is a personal and culturally meaningful part of black women's lives, and I respect that completely. What I will not do is pretend that spending $10,000 to $20,000 on a wig that might last a year is a smart financial decision, especially when the woman doesn't make $20,000 a year.
Now, obviously, most people aren't spending $20,000 on a wig or some sort of hairdo, but this is what you need to realize, right? Notice the same theme which is happening over and over and over again. And the reason why this is significant is because as I'm watching this, I'm just thinking, well, this isn't necessarily just like a black woman thing. A lot of women make these sorts of mistakes, right? In various different ways. But notice earlier on when I talked about a man's going to see a woman who has a spending problem as a red flag. So I've done videos and I'll do videos in the future about women, for example, talking about they're looking for a man, they're looking for a husband, they're looking for XYZ. Don't think a man isn't necessarily looking for someone to share life with, but the fact of the matter is the things that you could be doing right now could be major red flags which are turning him completely off of pursuing you, even if he thinks you're attractive.
At the lower range, That $10,000 could be used to increase your skills in order to elevate your pay. Spending $300 to $1,500 every 6 weeks for sew and weave is also not a smart financial decision. Spending $10,000 for K-tips and stalls because it looks real is also not smart financially.
Do you know the question you have to think about? It's a good question to consider. Who is going to benefit from this particular situation? The more we think about that sort of scenario, the better it's going to be for everybody. And I mentioned this already. This isn't even just about black women or black people or anything along those lines. It's a question that anyone can consider. When I spend all of this money, when I go into large debt, when I take a credit loan, when I do all of this different kind of stuff, who is really benefiting for it in the long term? It's usually not you. And if it's usually not you, we need to build up our discipline muscle and get to a point where we're not just making irrational, emotional decisions and we're actually being wise, like the Bible teaches us to, so we can actually prosper in all of these different areas in our lives. We can't be the people that pray and shout hallelujah and are wishing and hoping for God to work a miracle when we can't even do the things to set ourselves up for a miracle.
You got to make your spending make sense. At the lower cost range, $300 every 6 weeks plus tips is approximately $3,000 a year, leaving the black women households to build a mansion in the hills for others. Over 20 years at a 10% annual return, $3,000 a year invested becomes a $171,000 bag for you. That is the financial cost of a single recurring spending habit. The question is not whether you can afford the wigs and sew-ins. The issue is what you won't be able to afford as a result of consistently prioritizing this spending trap over investing.
Now, I'm definitely going to say it is about what you can afford first and foremost. Why? Because a lot of people who are spending frivolously and just sillily in this way, they're doing it on credit. They're doing it with money they don't have. So you definitely have to think about first and foremost if you can afford it. If more people just focused on that, can I actually afford this? And when I mean afford, can I actually pay for this in cash without taking it out on a credit or anything along those lines? That would save so many people. Let alone if we get to the next level and it's like, okay, cool, how can I use this money to create more money for me and pay me back more in the future?
Number 4, acrylic nails and premium nail services. This one surprises people the most because individually, the amounts feel small. $150 to $250 every 2 weeks for full sets or fill-ins and petties. But small amounts on a consistent schedule produce large outcomes in both directions. $150 every 2 weeks is $3,600 per year.
The problem is with stuff like this, as the Bible says, the small foxes spoil the vines. But this is why I said earlier on, most people don't think about their financial statement. They don't think about how much goes out, how much goes in. They don't get granular and look at, okay, I spent this much money on this month, this much on this month, this much on this month. You know why? Because at the end of the day, some people will get, like, some people will think to themselves, wow, 3,000 is a lot of money. How did I spend that much money? But because you're not tracking it on a bi-weekly basis or on a monthly basis, you don't see it enough to know and realize, oh, wow, this is how much I spent. Which, when you think about from that perspective, I promise you, it's going to force you to make better decisions. When you know you're spending, for example, $500 a month or $1,000 a month on takeout, but you feel like, yeah, I'm probably spending maybe $100, $200. That's a big difference. It's hard to lie to yourself when you can see yourself in the mirror and you've got dirt all over your face. It's much harder to do than just, oh, I think you're not looking in the mirror, you're just walking around somewhere. I think I've got some food here, but I can just wipe it off. It's not that bad. No, the whole face is covered with food and everybody can see it.
Invested consistently at a 10% annual return across 30 years, $3,600 per year becomes a $592,000 bag for you. The nail appointment feels inconsequential because it is small in the moment. Compound interest makes nothing inconsequential over time. This is not about eliminating the habit entirely. It is about making sure your investment contribution is happening versus paying for nails that will quickly grow out.
Notice the same theme over and over again, right? It's not about not doing the thing. It's about using your money wisely today. So as time goes on in the future, you can enjoy more of these things from a much better position.
Number 3. Luxury German vehicles. This one is a painful, financially destructive item for Black women. A luxury German vehicle financed over 5 to 7 years is one of the most effective wealth destruction tools available to Black women.
And notice the language, which is fascinating, right? But most people don't think in this way. He's calling a wealth destruction tool. How many people do you think who are going to buy a car on finance think about it in this way? They just typically think, well, this is a vehicle that I like. It gives me the feeling. What are people going to say when they see me rolling up in this whip? That's what they think about. They don't think about, how is this going to impact my wealth? How is this going to impact my monthly spend? Am I going to be someone complaining next week, next month, talking about, oh, well, my $500 car note is too much. I can't bear it. We have to think, guys.
Here is why. A $700 monthly car payment on a luxury German vehicle represents $8,400 per year, leaving Black women's households. These vehicles depreciate immediately and continuously. They require expensive insurance, expensive maintenance, and expensive fuel costs. At the end of the loan, the vehicle is worth a fraction of what was paid for it across the financing period. $8,400 per year invested at a 10% annual return across 20 years becomes a $481,000 bag for you.
Now, the only thing you have to consider, which is important, is obviously if you're going to have a car, you need a car, right? So for most people. So when you think about it from that perspective, maybe you're not going to be spending $700 a month, right? Maybe you spend $5,000 on a car or $8,000 one time, all in. And that's it. The problem is, notice what he said. The other 4 years, the other 5, 6, 7 years you're taking to pay off that car is money that you could actually be using. So you're going to pay for a car which is well within your means, that you can afford to pay one lump sum and be done with it. And then you're going to have no car payments. Yeah, you're not going to be able to stunt like you may want to, but at the end of the day, those people that you're trying to stunt for don't even care about you enough. So do what's actually best for you and your family.
A luxury German vehicle at the expense of your investment future is one of the most expensive status symbols a Black woman can purchase. Choose building your investment bag first so you can genuinely flex and have money for your future. Number 2, the you deserve it mindset. This one is psychological rather than transactional, which is exactly what makes it so dangerous. You do deserve good things. That is not the problem. The problem is when the you deserve it belief is used in real time to justify immediate spending rather than future building. You work hard. You had a difficult week. You have been grinding and you feel like the grind deserves a reward. So you spend on the designer clothes, trips, watered-down alcoholic drinks, and other non-valuable items. And in that moment, the spending feels like self-care, and it feels earned.
Yep.
What it ends up being is a psychological override of your own financial future. Real self-care for Black women who want to build a bag is funding her investment account before the reward spending happens. This practice is called delaying gratification. Real self-care is having a financial cushion. That means a bad month at work does not destabilize your entire life. Real self-care is your future self, looking back with respect on how you handled your business. You should want financial freedom far more than whatever the you deserve it mindset is selling you this week. Number 1.
Before we get into number 1, if you are working extremely hard, you do deserve it. And you know how you circumvent blowing money every single month that you shouldn't? You have if you want to call it, you deserve it account where you put money in every single month based on your earnings, a percentage, not a major percentage, 5%, 10%, nothing crazy. And every single month, you can blow all the money in that account as much as you want.